America's wealth is declining, and this one asset class is more needed than anything else in the real estate sector. Hey, everybody, Jerome Maldonado. One of the big things that I want to talk to you guys about today is really about the U.S. population and the wealth that is declining, the level of wealth in the average sedentary individual declining because of what's happening economically. So we hear a lot about what's happening in the news, the media, and inflation, high interest rates. All that stuff is real, right? But it's going to come and it's going to go. There's two variables here. Okay, now, in spite of wages increasing, because one of the big things with all this inflationary stuff that's happened is that employers, including myself, have been sitting back going, "Oh my goodness, labor is more expensive now than it ever has been." But in reality, what's happened is, in spite of labor going up and having such tremendous growth, because inflation is so high, it's eaten up all of the upside to the labor pool and the profits that they've been making. And so one of the biggest things that's happened right now is that the middle class is slowly diminishing. As interest rates go up, third world countries that rely on the U.S. for their export and our import are getting pounded because U.S. currency is super expensive right now. And so not only is it affecting us as sedentary individuals, right, including me, you, everybody out there, but it's affecting other countries. Any country that imports or exports oil is getting affected by what's happening with inflation right now. And so in spite of all of what's happened with people making higher wages and stuff, all of that's getting eaten up with the supply chain and inflation. So one thing that's massively needed more than ever, one thing that is extremely needed right now is affordable housing. And I'm going to go through this because in just a few minutes, I'd like to explain to you guys how you yourselves can take advantage of positioning yourself to take advantage of affordable housing. And why I want to give you guys 3 tips here as we move into this video, how you can take advantage of profiting from the massive need of affordable housing. That's very important, right? So if you're sitting back and, well, I'm not getting affected by it, Jerome. I have stability in my life. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a great job. I have talents and aspirations and stuff that really doesn't affect me. Oh, great. That's where we are. But how do you profit from it? How do you go and make even more and make a difference in what's happening? And so I want to give you those 3 standpoints here as we move through this. So a couple things. Affordable housing is real. Now, there's a difference because when I talk about affordable housing, it's different than low-income housing. When you talk about low-income housing is needed as well. In fact, over 2.8 million of the 7 million rooftops that are needed right now are needed in the low-income sector. Okay, so government assisted living. Now, one thing that we're doing in Fort Worth right now, there's a code up there that I'll give you guys more information about as we unfold it. We just onboarded a consulting company, and we were trying to pencil the underwriting of a 200-unit apartment development in the affordable housing sector. And one of the things that wasn't making the project go was the limitation on rents by this one university area. There was just no new product to comp it out to. So no bank is going to lend us money. So we were sitting back going, okay, this is such a great area, but we can't get the rents we need to build it. So how do we get it? Well, because there's such a massive need right now, as you guys are going out, you have to understand that our federal government has to be able to accommodate housing for U.S. American people. And so there's grants, there's grant money available, and there's also bonds available, and there's different things that our federal government, different programs, financial programs, housing programs that our federal government has put together. Now, that money goes to waste or it gets abused. And if it doesn't get utilized, it goes to waste. But most people don't know about it because most people aren't aware of those bonds unless you're in that inner conglomerate or inner circle. And so you have to ask about this stuff. And so one of the things that we did is one of the architects that we were working with had come to us and said, hey guys, there's this code and that's available in this area specifically, and there's resources and finances that the federal government has set in place that will offset rent by $200 per month per unit leased in the affordable housing sector without having to cap rent rates, which means that the federal government would pay us $200 a month in excess of what we're renting them for if we gave them at an affordable price. So let's say, for example, okay, we need $1,550 a month just to make the project pencil. Now, $1,700 a month is like a sweet spot. Now, we could get comps on old product, vintage stuff that was old, at $1,350 a door. So we were comfortably sitting back going, is a brand new product to be able to go in this area that's not highly affluent, little income, lower income, but growing, right? Like it's growing. And so there's the redevelopment plan of this area. But what is the big question mark, especially now that we're in a recession market, how long it's going to take for the redevelopment to take place? Because you and I both know that as you drive around old town areas or downtown areas in most metro cities, you sit back and go, okay, there's redevelopment, but we've both witnessed that it's taken 15, 20, 30 years for some of us that are a little bit older. And the redevelopment's there, it's real, but it is slow. It's like molasses, right? You're like trudging through mud to see the redevelopment happen. So what happens is we sit back and we go, okay, great, but we can realistically count on maybe $100, maybe $200 a month in excess rent based on comps on the old product. So if we underwrote it at $1,450 to $1,500 a month, then we could go in and say, okay, we could pencil this project, but it's barely going to make it. But with this federal rebate plus FYI, we get tax abatements on property taxes if we get approved, plus the $200. So here's what it does. It does two things for us. Okay. So this is how we benefit to give a product that benefits the masses in the affordable housing sector, right? So we go in and we go, okay, we apply for this. We have to hire a consulting company. It's going to cost us about $20,000 to pay them to do this for us. Now, for some of you guys to sit back and go, oh my God, I can't afford to pay $20,000 for a consultant. Hold on. That's a whole different video for a whole other day. I'll put that video recommended in the at the end of this video so you can go in and see how you actually get capital to finance and run these deals, right? Which is not extremely hard to do. Right now, what you need more than ever to get them financed is a business plan with a set of plans and entitlement processes that gives you that funding. But so we go in, and one of the most expensive things that there is in real estate in Texas is property taxes, because Texas doesn't have income taxes. So they have to get that money from oil and property. And so real estate and oil pay the variance of people like you and I not paying income taxes who live in the state of Texas. So we go in, we get a tax abatement. The property, if it underwrites based on current valuation, will save us $500,000 a year in property taxes alone by building affordable housing through this governmental assisted program indefinitely. That's $500,000 that goes to our bottom line towards our net operating income. That means it's cash flow going into our pockets every single month. Okay. So in spite of that, we don't even underwrite that. That's just like icing on the cake. So in spite of that, we go back in and we say, okay, we apply for this. We get $200 per unit that we have in the low income affordable housing sector governmentally approved. So let's say 60% of our property pencils at that. And so we get $200. That just pushes our rent from that $1,450-ish, right, amount, all the way up to that $1,650 per month per unit price range that we needed to make this thing super profitable. Okay. That's our teeter-totter to make this whole project actually fund and work. So that way the moving components pencil financially, especially in this compressed market. Okay. So the number one sector that's needed right now that you can benefit from is the affordable housing sector. Now, here's what's cool. That there are rent caps in some cities if you go back in and you apply for some of this stuff. So we're very careful and we're very conscientious as to how we actually take down some of these, the grant money that's available and some of these government assisted programs that we're applying for, because we don't want to be capped on rent, because if we cap our rent, our value of our property also gets plateaued. It also gets capped. And so we don't want to cap our rent but what we do want to do is we want to be logical. We want to be methodical about how we actually do this, because we want to be able to give people, our US American people, the benefits of living in a brand new development, Class A, not a lot of amenities. There's no swimming pools, clubhouses, and stuff like that. People that need affordable housing, ladies and gentlemen, they can go down to the local YMCA, Planet Fitness, or someplace very extremely affordable to get those type of amenities. What they need is a roof over their head, right? So look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to continue on this, and I'm going to give you 3 examples of how you can profit from this in this video. If you love the content, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, look, so one of the big things is rent caps, right? You want to be careful because your valuation gets capped if rents get capped. So when we go into this, we want to make sure that when we do it and we get approval on this stuff, we don't get capped on our rents because then our valuations plateau. We want to make sure that the values continue to go up. And one thing that happens right now with high interest rates is that cap rates. Cap rates are the revenue that the property makes after everything's all paid. That's the return on your investment, the money that you get every month if you would have paid cash for the entire asset, the percentage that you get. So like for sake of example, a cap rate, if you go in and you say, okay, the property is worth $4 million, okay, just for sake of example. So we take a $4 million and we say it's at a 7% cap rate. So 7% of $4 million. So you take $4 million times 0.07. And that's $280,000 per year that property makes for you in order, that's your cash on cash return. That's the return that you're making on the property. Now you might have some debt to service on that thing. So let's say that you have 70% of that is servicing just debt alone. So times 0.30 is left over. You're making $84,000 a year. That's your return on a $4 million building after you service your debt, okay, is $84,000. Now, when you do that with cap rates, here's what happens. Cap rates and interest rates have to run in parallel because if they don't, what ends up happening is you can't afford to service your debt, okay? Now, no one's going to go out there and buy a property, an investment, an asset because it becomes a liability if the cost to service debt becomes higher than the cash flow itself. So the way you prevent that is you have to have a cap rate that runs parallel with interest rates. So right now we're underwriting these deals at 7%. So we make a 7% return, which means our cash flow goes higher, but our valuation of our property goes down. Now, in a market like today, don't worry about valuations because you can buy real estate at discounted prices, okay? That's the first tip, ladies and gentlemen, is that right now we want to advocate for high interest rates for a little bit of time. And here's why. Because as long as interest rates stay low, prices on real estate are going to stay high, okay? Did you understand that? The longer that interest rates stay high, then we get a discounted price on the real estate because real estate values drop when interest rates go up. Because as cap rates go up, interest rates have to go up. As cap rates and interest rates go up, values of properties drop. So how do you make money in real estate? The way you make money in real estate is by buying properties at a discounted price and then riding the wave of that valuations going up. That's how you go in, and then you do a cash out refinance because you have a larger valuation. You pull that equity out, you get cash back out. Now your cap rate can get compressed a little bit with your interest rates when interest rates are low in 2 years from now, 3 years from now. This is not the time. The time to do what the time is right now is to pay high interest rates, yes, but buy at such discounted prices that the discounted price overweighs tenfold what you're paying in interest rates. The key is not to have early payoff penalties on your notes. So if you can do owner finance notes, or if you can go in and get fluctuating rate mortgages where we start seeing in 2024 when it's an election year, the interest rate starts going down and you can ride the wave up with a little bit higher interest rates for a year, and you can pencil it with a secure number that allows you to be able to have a cushion, a buffer there. Then you're able to go in and refinance that asset at a lower interest rate that you paid a discounted price on. Now you have the best of both worlds. One, you have a discounted price. So you have a discounted price because your valuation went down, but not only do you have a discounted price, then you refinance at a lower interest rate later, and you pull equity out of it once the valuation goes back up and cap rates get compressed again. But when you buy an asset with already compressed cap rates and already compressed interest rates, you're buying at the highest value that you're going to have in that asset. So the problem is there's only one way to win from that asset, and it's just to hold it forever. Because now you're sitting back at a compressed module and you don't have a lot of upside to it, because we just hit a 40-year record on the upturn of valuations and appreciation of real estate. So if we just hit a 40-year high, we hit unprecedented appreciations. What are the chances of us hitting that again in our lifetimes. Okay. So we may hit it, but this is your opportunity to take advantage of the compression in values, not cap rates, the compression of values, so you can buy at a discounted price and ride up. So the second way you benefit is from the refinance later. So here's how you position yourself, guys. So for those of you guys that want to learn, here's the 3 tips that I want to talk to you guys about right now, okay? So that way it makes the whole video of what we're talking about worth watching, right? How do I do it? That's not me, not me as in me, but me as in you. How do you take advantage of it? And here's how. So one of the big things is advocate for high interest rates right now. And as we advocate for high interest rates right now, one of the big things that you want to do is you want to take advantage. You want to take advantage of being able to, my son's knocking at the door. Let me grab this for him real quick, guys. So one of the big things that you want to do is when you want to buy discounted prices right now, don't pay retail for anything. Hands down, if you're going to land up paying full price for stuff right now, you're ludicrous. Don't do it. Right now is the time for you guys to buy discounted real estate. So value add is a very attractive, is becoming more attractive than anything. So as this year unfolds and you move into your New Year's resolution, if your New Year's resolution says, I want to be involved in real estate in 2023 and I want to profit from it, then advocate for high interest rates throughout the entire year like the feds are already promoting. And be willing, underwrite with a high interest rate. And if it doesn't pencil, you're paying too much. So what you want to do is you want to assume that interest rates are going to be at 8%, let's say. Minimum 7. So when you underwrite these deals at 7% interest rates, 8% interest rates, if they can afford to service the debt, you're buying at the right price. And if you make a profit, you service the debt and make a profit from it, you're buying at the right price. And so this will allow you to be able to write the interest rate compression, the cap rate compression down later in 3 years, 5 years from now. So one of the big things that you want to be able to do is take advantage now that interest rates are high of buying discounted real estate. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen. Right now is the time for you guys to buy discounted real estate. Value add is big. This is a cash flow year, okay? For the next 2 to 3 years, it's the time for you guys to benefit from cash flow, not from resale, okay? That's number 2, okay? So pay attention. This 2023, 2024 is the time for you to benefit from cash flow, not resale appreciation, okay? Values are dropping. They're not appreciating. They're not going up. We're going to see a 1.1% projected, right? We're projecting to see a 1.1% deflation in appreciation this next year, meaning typically we see about a 1.8 to 2% appreciated values every single year. Not going to happen this year. We're going to take the 10.4% appreciation that we saw this year in 2022. Believe it or not, we're still in excess of 10% appreciated values from where we were January 1st, 2022 to where we sit today. We're going to drop next year projectedly about 1.2% according to the Zillow index, okay? So when that happens, just expect that your asset's you're going to lose value in it. But if you buy with the right interest rates in mind and the discounted price, you're going to continue cash flowing for the next couple years. Live on that cash flow, guys. This is the era of cash flow. And cash flow is king because cash isn't king if it just sits. Cash flow is king because when it revolves and you're generating revenue in spite of your efforts, that's king, ladies and gentlemen. So now here's the third thing that you do. Here's how you profit the third way. You buy discounted, you cash flow for the next few years, and you position yourself for 2 years from now, 3 years from now, as interest rates die back down, you start watching your valuations go back up as cap rates start compressing with interest rates. And then you do what's called a cash out refinance, hold your asset, you allow it to continue cash flowing for you, but then you pull the equity spread of what you bought at a discounted price down then it to current market value. And then you just hold that asset forever, let it cash flow forever. You pull out that working capital in a couple of years, and then you put that capital back to work to go out and do it all over again in whatever current market that we're in at that point in time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you go out, you compound your success, and you allow your revenue, your assets, and your cash flow to work for you. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you guys go out and make it a Merry Christmas. God bless you guys. I hope you guys have a great one with your families. I wanted to bring you guys a little Wednesday's Real Talk on real estate. If you guys like what you guys see, you guys love the information, pound that thumbs up, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Peace out. God bless. Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys next week on Wednesday's Real Talk on real estate. You guys go out and make it a great one. Merry Christmas to all of you.